the country, and to this confusion and chaos and very dispiriting situation. And we do have another sad event coming up, which is Nancy's retirement, it turns out.
I don't think it's quite on the same level.
Well, that one has its upside, which is that we can just think back on the last 18 years and what a great job you've done, and thank you for it, and really just appreciate all the wonderful times we've had together and all the great stuff we've done together.
I thank you. You've been all very kind in your comments. We still have a few more months.
Great.
Yes, make the most of them.
Yeah, thanks for making it a gentle transition, and we'll try to do our best on our end to find another person.
Okay.
In the meantime.
And I am recording, just to let you know, I'm recording the meeting, and Liam is here taking minutes.
Thank you, Liam.
Okay.
So I guess you're number one on the agenda, Joe, with the dry hydrant easement.
Well, there's not much I can add as far as the easement. That's more on whatever documents you guys carve up and get ready to go and present and get signed. I don't have much to say about that part of it. Only thing I can really update you on is, as you probably are aware, I think we talked about this. We had a survey done back in late November of the site, and I'm hoping to get some kind of preliminary result from that this weekend. I was hoping to have it for this meeting, but everyone's been obviously very busy with the holidays and what have you, so not quite yet. That survey will at least give me the information, or some of the information I have, to start proceeding with whatever permitting needs to happen. But one of the first steps that does need to take place, I believe, is that easement needs to be in place. So that's between the town and the DiDonatos, basically, to get that done and executed.
So I have contacted town council to get us wording for an easement, but one of the things that we are going to need is a copy of that survey that I think has to go with the easement, because it delineates the area.
Right.
Okay, so that I hope to have soon. I mean, the gentleman that provided it for us is essentially doing it for the most part pro bono, so I can only put so much pressure on that to happen. But I do trust his capabilities in doing it, and hopefully what I get in the next few days will be sufficient to move the other part of it along. It might not be the entire full survey, but it might be a reasonable idea of what's to come, or maybe it'll be the whole thing. I don't know. We'll see what he comes up with. He and I both work together on an incident management team that I work with, and we are now getting involved in the planning of the whole COVID vaccine thing about to take place. So that's also going to be taking up a lot of time.
Yeah. So Joe, on the easement, when you do get the survey, will you essentially pencil in an area on the survey for which you would like an easement? In other words, permission to go across this certain stretch of land?
I'm not exactly sure how that works, to be honest with you. I'm going to get a document, from what I understand, it's going to show the site, and I believe it'll show the borders of what's there in terms of the boundary lines.
Right.
And we'll show where we would like to put what we want to put, where the pipe is actually going to wind up going. So I think that answers the question. I believe that's what we're going to wind up with.
Well, I think it answers the question. You really only need an easement for the pipe to run under the ground. You don't need an easement to be walking over to the pond all the time.
I'm not exactly sure how it's supposed to be crafted word-wise precisely. I mean, we are probably going to have to. Well, we are going to have to dig a trench,
right,
and most likely remove at least a few small trees, and so that's modification to the property, and then there will be the permanent fixture of the hydrant itself. So I'm assuming that all gets encompassed into the granting of the easement, I believe.
Okay.
The easement part of it's beyond my expertise.
Well, I think if we get the survey, that's the best place to start, and we'll send it off to town council. Okay,
perfect. Well, as soon as I get something, I will pass it through, and we'll see how that works.
Okay, good. Thanks.
All right. So
Any questions, board? Thoughts? You good?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
just my only thought is I don't think we can do anything till we have a sense of the area. Right. So
Okay,
move ahead then.
fair enough. We will move forward from there and see what happens.
Thank you, Joe.
All right. Any other questions for me on anything else?
Well, you did mention the vaccination program. How are you involved in that, and what's happening?
Well, not a whole lot of details yet, but it looks like our first responders are going to be vaccinated as early as late next week, or the following week. So that's the bottom line of it. We'll have more exact details on when and where and how, hopefully the next day or two. But there's a push on the state level to vaccinate all first responders, essentially starting Monday and continuing for the next couple of weeks. They want to get through everybody as fast as they can. So that, we're trying to set up sites within Franklin County, and then there's going to be state-run, private contractor through the state-run large-scale vaccination sites in Western Mass. There's 2 of them planned right now, maybe 3, which will also handle first responders, and then beyond that, when it becomes time, handle other cohorts of people as they become eligible. So.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, guys?
Folks?
All right.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you very much. Have a good night. I'm going to go back to watching TV and the slow rolling disaster that is taking place.
Yeah. Well, have a good night.
It's been all fun so far. Nancy, you going to be in the office tomorrow? You'll be there, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll give you a call tomorrow. Okay. Bye. Bye, folks.
Bye.
Right.
Oh,
Okay. The next thing on the agenda, does anybody know if broadband has been hooked up at the library yet?
Your audio is a problem, Nancy. You're getting feedback.
I think it's Robert just joined us. So I muted him. Of course, he might be the one to answer this question.
Is that any better? I took it off speaker.
Well, that is better. I'm not sure why. But
I think it was because of Robert. So.
Okay. Well, anyway, the reason I'm asking is that the copper phone lines have been problematic for the last couple of weeks at the library. I know that Anna has been struggling with this over there. And I believe the only reason that we still have them has to do with the alarm system. So we needed to, I think the first step was to have the broadband put in and get that up and running, and then we'd have to go back and get the voice over internet in, and once that's in, then we could have the alarm company come in and make the switch, and then we could disconnect the copper lines. But I don't know where we stand in that process in the library.
It seems to me that it was scheduled a while ago. I'll let Robbie talk now.
Yeah, the library is hooked up, the town hall is hooked up, the senior center is hooked up, and apparently the town offices were hooked up just a few days ago, but isn't fully up and running everywhere. So I don't know about the fire station, highway station connection, whether they've done that or not. So that's the part. That's what I know. The library is hooked up with Whip City at this point, so we don't need the copper lines at this point. It can be transferred over,
Okay.
whatever you need to do.
So it sounds like we can have the alarm company come in and hook up the alarm, and then we can
I'm not
disconnect
sure.
the copper line.
I'm not sure that's true, Nancy. Robert, is it true that the VoIP is working at the library?
There's no VoIP, but the alarm doesn't need the VoIP. The alarm goes directly into the Ethernet.
Well, the alarm is going into
Well, the
copper
alarm
wire
is
right
going
now.
into copper wire right now.
Right now, but when they put it over to Ethernet, they don't need a phone line at all
Right.
for any
But,
purpose.
Right.
but who will
But
make the switch for the
make the
library?
switch for the library?
Switching from
The alarm?
Switching from
copper to
copper
VoIP.
to VoIP.
I don't know.
I think that's what Nancy was saying. The plan was to switch the internet first and then put the alarm on the internet. And then when that was all done, Whip City would come back and move and get the voice over IP in place of the copper. So it was a multi-step.
So it seems like the next step is to have the alarm company come in to the library. Okay, I can call them tomorrow then. Okay. Everybody all set with that?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay. So animal control equipment. I don't know if you saw the email between Maggie and Doug Tanner about the equipment that she has.
No, I didn't see that, I don't think.
Okay, so she wrote to Doug saying that she has some things I can pass on to her, a rabies pole and gloves, neither which are the best tools for the job. She should have Kevlar gloves rather than the leather ones I have, which have absolutely zero dexterity for gripping animals. I have crates she can have, and she'll need reimbursement for gas expense and possibly for training. I will also say it would be great to increase the stipend since she will be taking on the full range of responsibilities for ACO, that is livestock, wildlife, domestic animals other than dogs. So she has a kennel that she's incorporated into her own fencing. And she said rather than dismantle it, I would prefer to reimburse the town. And Doug has written back saying the reimbursement for the kennel should be up to the select board, but it's my feeling that if it's useful to you, it should be a gift to you from the town. We can replace it from other sources if needed. So I guess that's the question.
Well, I would second Doug's suggestion on that one. Maggie is more than in line for a little gift.
And I don't believe it's very new. I mean, I think she's had that for some time. I don't think the value would be particularly high.
Does the rest of the select board agree with that we can give her that kennel?
I agree, yes.
I
Gillian?
agree as well. I
Thank
agree.
you.
Okay. And then Dan, I think you had sent an email. I looked at the budget. There's the stipend, the annual stipend for ACO is $800. So if Maggie is taking it through the end of the month, through December, so she would have 400. I believe the other 400 would be going to Megan.
Right.
And then we had talked about supplies and up to like $300 coming out of the select board account. Is that still where we stand on that?
That sounds right to me, if everybody agrees.
Yes.
Yes.
They're nodding. Yep.
Okay, I will give that information to Carolyn so she can know about the stipend. And I'll talk to Megan about supplies. Okay. So gate lane updates. Dan, do you have any news from our favorite lawyer?
Well, he's been working hard on this, boy. I know that. And I guess the next step is some more research with the town clerk and actually going down there physically. But it's looking more and more to me like it would be very difficult to get big trucks down there, period, without a lot of work and the legality being at the moment questionable, since we don't have a final opinion about the town's legal right to improve the road on a temporary basis. So the idea of burning it with fire trucks going down there and everything is looking a little dim at the moment, and likewise demolishing it, which would mean getting big dumpsters down there and et cetera, on trucks. And there's really a lot of stuff to cart away in that house. In fact, there's a lot of stuff in the house that could not be burned, which would have to go into a dumpster anyway. So Nancy noted that we do have liability protection in case something bad happens there. We can post the place with no trespassing signs, which our attorney said would be a good idea. And I don't know, let it rot.
So I'm pretty sure Alistair sent it to everybody, but now I couldn't find it. He had gone down there to take a look to, get a feel for the salvage potential. Did you guys see that email?
I saw it, yeah. I didn't think he was too optimistic about the
right,
salvage
he
potential,
wasn't. But it does sound like, another alternative.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, this sort of goes against, so this would be different than what the open space was wanting us to preserve the land. So if we want to go that route, then we'll have to deal with the house in some way. But I don't know if it's worth asking the lawyer, what, and I think at one of our older meetings, Phil had said there was liability just if we tried to sell it, like in the auction, or possibly similarly if we tried to do an RFP. So I guess I'm curious if that's, maybe it would be worth asking the lawyer about that. And then just so we know what all the options might be.
You mean asking the lawyer if there's liability if we sold it?
Yeah, sold it, did an RFP.
I don't think we can sell it with the house on it. And that's my recollection from previous auctions and talking to Carolyn over the years. I could be wrong on it, but I think there's an issue, a legal issue with selling it with a house on it. For one thing, it sort of guarantees that it's a house lot and buildable. And I'm not sure we want to do that on a road that's not a public road. So yeah, there's legal questions. And I think Alistair's suggestion was to put out an RFP for salvage. And I think we could do that. We could put out an RFP to see if anybody wants to salvage it. And we could even offer it for free. That might be a first step.
Alistair's email is talking about an RFP for people looking to rehab the place.
No.
Unfortunately, and I thought from the lawyer we talked to that he felt that an RFP was even treading into dangerous territory in terms of the road. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think, Lori, I was thinking it was you who actually thought about the RFP for salvage. I can't remember for sure, but
yeah.
I almost would lean towards that, but I would say that I almost feel like we'd have to put a cost to it, because I'm worried that if there's no cost, that we might have somebody who would be interested in it, but doesn't quite have the capacity to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there would have to be some
real
pretty firm guidelines around timelines, what it was left, how it was left. And I don't know if you can put consequences in there in terms of if it isn't taken care of in a proper way, but because I could see somebody being like, oh, this is too much, and then just leaving it, and then we're still stuck with a space that is probably less secure than it is now, or a structure that's less secure. But it almost seems like that would be the, if somebody's willing to just take a pickup truck up there and start taking apart the lumber and the glass and the this and the that, and piece by piece take it away, maybe that's more doable than trying to pay to get some big trucks up there to either burn it or haul it away.
Yeah, it definitely is more doable. Just getting a little pickup truck in there. So is that a consensus of the board that maybe we should do an RFP for demolition and retrieval of materials at a certain cost? Does that make sense? I can run that by the lawyer, first of all, to see
Yeah, I think I
Right.
definitely want that to run it by the lawyer first to see.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, let me do that first and then we can come back to it.
What are you thinking,
Yeah.
Lauren?
I was just thinking, we should think about it more and
Yeah.
maybe bring in open space again to
Okay,
have their voice heard again.
Yep.
With all the current thinking that we're doing.
yep, good idea.
But it's okay to move ahead to just get an opinion from the lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay,
Yeah, we just might look back at Alistair's email because I do almost think he didn't think it was going to be that much value for just salvage. You know, in that sense.
right, and we can put restrictions on it, Gillian, on the RFP. And definitely, you may have somebody put a deposit down for one thing that's refundable when the job's done. And you can list the requirements for cleanup in an agreement. But we can start with the lawyer and see if it's even sensible.
Okay.
Okay. I guess.
Contract with Leverett.
Yeah, the contract with Leverett. Did everyone see that? The updated MOU.
I looked at it briefly.
It's what essentially extends the current agreement until the end of the fiscal year, paying them the same amount, $3,667 a month, and with a possible addition of funds for additional patrols as we instruct them to do these additional patrols. Any thoughts on that agreement and if it makes sense? And
I think it sounds fine with me. The police succession group has talked about this as well.
we have, yep. And we've talked about it with Julie Shively, who's representing the Leverett Select Board, and with Scott Winkler, and they think that this is okay at the moment.
Yeah, seems good to me. You're muted, Gilly.
Sorry, I have a dog that keeps barking. I think it's the right thing to do at this point.
Okay, great.
It's on the table waiting for signatures.
Can we have a vote on that? I move we accept that memorandum of agreement as written.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Will they be patrolling?
Pardon me?
Will Leverett Police start patrolling in Wendell or just?
That, I think we have a consensus that we would like them to start patrolling this month to begin with a very limited basis. I think, what was Scott's proposal, 8 hours a week? That sound familiar?
I don't know at all. That
Yeah,
sounds.
I don't remember having those specific numbers, but maybe it was in an email somewhere. I haven't been to the police succession meeting, so.
Right, well, he gave us two proposals. One was, I don't know, it was either 4 and 8 hours per week or 8 and 16 hours per week, but maybe the best thing would be to start really small and ask him to start with only 4 hours per week.
I kind of think that's maybe what we talked about.
Okay.
It was 4 to 8. It was somewhere in that range, and
I think we talked about just warnings
Right.
to start too, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Unless there's something really egregious that they really can't.
Mhm.
But for like a typical speeding offense, a warning.
So we're agreed on that?
Mhm.
Could I ask a question for clarification?
You can, Dominic, go ahead.
Thank you. So the motion that was just made and passed, was that to sign the MOU?
Right.
Oh, okay. Were any changes made to it?
It's just extending the current agreement until the end of the fiscal year.
Right. Okay. That's what Chief Minkler had told me you guys
Right.
would probably be doing, just extending that. How long? 3 months, you said?
No, till the end of the fiscal year, which is July 1st.
Right. July. Right. Never mind.
6 months.
Okay. So that's the short-term contract, correct?
That's right. Yep. And we're
Okay.
working on the long-term contract.
And working on the long one. See, but you voted unanimously for the short term
That's right.
to extend it until July 1st.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure thing. Nancy, could you communicate with Scott and let him know that we would like him to do 4 hours a week as a start?
Sure.
And could you copy Julie Shively on that, please?
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay. So under old business, I think we've discussed a number of things, but the town hall crawl space, I had a little confusion with Jim. I thought he was going to look into the ozone treatment, but in an email with me, he kicked it back to me to find somebody to do that. I'm having a little difficulty trying to even figure out who does that work, but I'm working on it. I found one place in Sterling that I have to call. And then when I punched it in, you can also purchase these ozone generators at Home Depot for between $50 and $300. But then again, I don't know that we necessarily want to own one.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, so he gave us a new map of the crawl space and the number of square feet of foam, which has gone from the 900 feet that we had originally gotten bids on up to 2,645 square feet, quite a bit more. I looked at the old bids. We had gotten 2 bids, and I looked at just that one portion of it, which was the spraying the 6 inches of foam insulation. And they range from like $5 a square foot to $11, and upping, based on the new amount. And again, these are going back a couple of years. They may be way out of date. If we can get a bid in the $5 range, then we still have enough money to do the insulation, depending on how much the ozone treatment is. Obviously, if it's up to $11 a square foot, then we're about $15,000 short. But from what Jim was saying, we need to really coordinate this. We have to do the ozone treatment, and very soon thereafter, we have to do the foam insulation. So I think it's going to be a little tricky. So I guess the first point is to find somebody who can do the ozone, see how much it is, but not schedule anything. And then we'll have to go out to bid on the foam insulation. And when we get a bid on that, then we'll have to coordinate the 2 of them
Yep.
to do this.
Yep. That all sounds right to me. And thanks for doing it, Nancy. I can maybe chip in a little on the ozone research. I'll do a little work on that.
Okay. The one place I found online that I haven't talked to them yet was called Service Master. I think they're like franchise, but there was one out of Sterling, Massachusetts that said they did ozone treatment. But if you find anything, let me know.
I will.
Another thought I just had, which maybe I can follow up on, the mass save and all the weatherization groups, they often, help people with these types of barriers for insulation, and they might at the very least know who does these kind of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I can try to call either Mass Save or I think Clear Result is their main contractor that they work with. So
that'd be good. Yep. Thanks.
And then I had a couple of things that I think came up before the posting. One of them is the Wi-Fi at Town Hall and password protecting that. Lori, do you want to explain that?
So let me think back. I guess the main issue was that Allison continued to notice people at night in front of Town Hall, and it turned out that the the timing, the scheduling wasn't working. So Robert has been working with Whip City to understand how to make it work. And there seems like there may be, well, so first of all, since we don't have it working, we put the password back in for the time being. And I think I sent that to everybody. And so then there's a couple of options, I think, and Robert can talk more about this if he wants, but there's the current modem does not allow this kind of scheduling. So we might need to upgrade to a different modem with more options. And that, I think he said, was about $85. But Allison also took it upon herself to call Whip City and to do some research. And she thought maybe just having a simple timer, you know, on the modem, just like you would time a light or something, might also work and would be cheaper. But Robert did, I'm back and forth, Robert thought that the modem, the better modem was a better option. It has just more, it's just a cleaner solution.
Yeah.
But he can talk if he wants about that.
Robert, any further thoughts on
Robert,
it?
any further thoughts on it?
Yeah, the main sort of problem with putting a mechanical timer on the modem, on the, actually not a modem, it's a router, is that it will cut off all of the internet to the town hall. If you put in a VoIP phone, it would also be cut off at night.
Right.
And if you put an alarm system in the town hall, it would be cut off at night. And if you put in remote sensing on, say, the safe, you know, replace the existing thing on the paper stone, anything like that, all be, it would cut off everything. So we wouldn't discriminate between, you know, people outside or anything. It's hardwired inside. Just do everything, which is sort of very sort of crude way of controlling things.
Yeah.
With the better router, you can control which things can be allowed all the time and which things only allowed during the day. And you could be able to control different categories of things. So the phone could be on all the time, and the alarm system be on all the time, obviously, but you can turn the external Wi-Fi off at night and be able to control it at that level. And you can also, you would be able to like remotely change things. So if you were expecting an event at the town hall that needed the Wi-Fi in the evening, you can put an exception in for that, and without having to go into the pantry area, which is hard to get into because it's locked and there aren't that many keys available for it. This way, people can access that remotely in advance or whatever, and you know, basically have, you know, intelligent control over things. And the other thing is that those cheap little timers, I don't know how well they would work over the long term. I mean, they're not, I don't think they're designed for a 24/7 unattended situation. They're designed for, say, your Christmas lights, or turning a light on while you're on vacation. You only have it on, you know, you only use it for 2 to 4 weeks, a year or something, or, you know, that kind of. And you can get more expensive timers, but then you're sort of, I mean, the new router wouldn't be any more expensive. I mean, you'd be paying more money for something you can get better anyway. So
yeah, well,
that's, you know.
Yeah, well,
the new router sounds like a good idea.
Router sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah, it's not they're not terribly expensive. It's not like it's thousands of dollars. It's only $85 or something, which is not exorbitant. And it should be a good router, and it will, you know, do everything we need to do and do it intelligently.
That's what we like.
Seems like that's the right option. Yeah.
Yep. Good.
So can we just give Robert the okay to go and purchase that and install it?
Yes, we can.
I agree.
Thanks for doing that, Robert.
So the next question also has to do with town hall. I got a call from Nancy at Good Neighbors, and they're looking to apply for a grant to purchase UV machines to sanitize the building. And I said, you know, I would have to run it by the select board. I don't know if there's any issues with people with the use of that. Don't know anything about them.
Yeah, I'm not sure I know exactly what they're meaning by that either. If they're talking about sanitizing the whole building with UV.
Yeah, apparently they're machines that I think there's one, she said, for the large room, and then there's a smaller one for the little office space. I don't know if it cycles the air through, or, yeah, again, I don't know anything about them. And I did ask her to look into if there were any harmful side effects from them. You know, I don't want them to go out and get this grant and buy something expensive and find out people are up in arms over its use.
I think it would be really good to run this by Jim Slavis, our facilities manager. He's an expert on this stuff and could give us a good opinion, I think.
Yeah, Nancy, can you, what does she need from us? Just permission or to sign off on it?
She wanted permission, yeah, to apply for these, and, you know, before they apply, they wanted to make sure that they could use them without anyone objecting.
Okay. And the grant, do you remember, is it fully covering the cost? I guess it doesn't matter. Neighbors would spend whatever they had. Yeah, I think Jim's opinion would be good, or, I mean, and just knowing a lot more about what it's doing and how it's working.
Okay, I'll email him tomorrow.
Great, thank you. I think his opinion would be great, and then maybe we need to actually have a rep from the Good Neighbors come in and talk about it at some point.
I wonder if they have a timeline concern with the grant. Do you know that, Nancy?
I think they do, but I don't know if it's, you know, a short timeline. I did say that you were meeting tonight, and she was, you know, was happy to know that it was that soon. So I can check with her on that as well.
Right. Okay. I was just reading a couple things real quick. It would be important to make sure the lamp does not contain mercury. That's a caution about those UV lamps. So, because if it fell and broke, then it could create an issue.
Well, do you know, Nancy, or are they talking about replacing fluorescent bulbs in the building with UV bulbs, or is this a special treatment?
These are special treatments.
Sounds like a special treatment.
Okay. Okay, I think running it by Jim would be a first step. He'll probably get back to us right away, and we can come up with an answer pretty quick.
Okay. So that's all I had for the select board portion of the agenda.
I wanted to make a point that if we did want to talk about the MLP board, it should actually be a select board item, because the select board is the one doing the appointments.
Good point.
So
we can do that now. We're still in session.
We'll move that up.
Do we have anything we want to do on that now, Lori?
Well, the deadline has passed. Nancy, I guess one question is, Nancy, did we get any additional letters before the end of the year?
So I think we had 4 people. It was Lou, Robbie, you, and Juanita. Was I missing anything? I think that's all the people I've seen.
And then Alistair sent an email sort of saying he doesn't want to be on the official board, but would like to serve sort of in doing what he's doing, maybe as an associate member. Yeah.
Well, I would be happy to move that we appoint Lori and Robbie and Lou as the MLP members. I will move that, and if we get a second, we can discuss it.
I will second.
Now, I should recuse myself, but I just want to mention that I think we need to do a 1-year, a 2-year, and a 3-year appointment.
Right.
And I just double checked Lou's letter specifically asked for the 2-year appointment.
Okay.
So, but now I'm gonna recuse myself.
Well, do you have any preference for yourself about one
Oh,
or three?
I'm fine with the 3-year. Yeah, I don't have a huge preference, but 3 years is fine with me.
Okay, well, let's do that then. Lou for 2 years, Lori for 3, and Robbie for 1. Is that okay with you, Robbie? We can always reappoint you.
Sure, fine by me.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor as amended to those numbers. Any further discussion? All in favor? Oh.
Should we add on Alistair as an associate member? Or, yeah.
Sure. A friendly amendment. Can we vote on that as amended? All those in favor? We can't hear you, Gillian, but I see you saying aye. I will vote aye, so it carries 2 ayes and 1 abstention.
No, I'm abstaining.
Okay, on the appointment slips, because generally these expire at the end of June, not quite sure we, want to give anybody a 6-month appointment. Should we do the full appointments and then just have them, at the 1st of January when we reappoint?
Yeah, sure. I think so.
Or does it make sense to do? Well, I guess that makes sense. I was wondering if we should do a longer, like 1.5 years, but.
And also, I can't remember from town meeting votes, was this the first step? And ultimately, are we thinking of making these elected, or are they going to stay appointed for the time being?
Appointed.
I think the consensus was to leave it as appointed for the time being. And
That's
personally, I'm in favor of keeping it as appointed, but we can discuss that as we go forward.
So if that's the case, then maybe we should do like 1.5 years, 2.5, and 3.5 years.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm just afraid it's going to get lost in the
Yep.
January. Okay.
Is there any issue with the fact that the town meeting vote, I think, specified 1, 2, and 3 years, and maybe we should just do the 6-month and then, it's tough. Yeah, you can decide, Nancy, what you think is okay.
Yeah, I like the simplified version, which is going for the longer term.
I like that too. I don't know if it's an issue, but.
Okay.
Well, we'll try it. If anybody objects, we can always change it, I guess.
Yep, good idea.
Okay. So 3.5, 2.5, and 1.5.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I think we should still try to encourage some people as associate members. Right? Because really, that's sort of what we were shooting for, was having some other people involved too.
And we are going to keep the broadband meetings going for an undetermined amount of time. So those people are sort of like associate members, whoever continues to show up.
Right.
Or they're.
And will we still have select board representation on the MLP committee?
Well, we have Lori.
On the broadband committee?
Well, the broadband committee is not going to last very long. The original idea was that it would disappear when construction was complete, and the MLP would just take over as running the business.
Right.
Construction is virtually complete, with the exception of the micro trenching for Davis and Colebrook Road, and a couple of other loose ends.
No, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
so maybe it's a matter of a month or 2 before the broadband committee disappears. I don't know.
So officially, Gillian, you don't need to go to broadband committee meetings anymore.
That's what I was getting at.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that.
I was just wondering sort of what the commitment was in terms of the broadband committee meetings for the select board members to still be present there. Because the MLP will now sort of take on that role.
Yeah.
From the select board.
Yep.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. We were just serving temporarily as the MLP.
Right. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, you all lost a job, except Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
I know, I think they're happy.
Yeah, thanks, Lori. Appreciate that. You're a good person for the job, I think.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, very much.
And thank you, Robbie, and thank you, Lou.
Mm.
Yep,
That
very
was here.
much. Thanks, Robbie. Okay, so I guess Nancy's finished, and that is it for you, Lori, pretty much. Gillian, did you have any further thoughts?
Our town custodian just brought up to me that often I wasn't quite sure who to bring it to. Often he's finding the senior center to be unlocked.
Oh. Huh.
And so who should receive sort of reminders to make sure?
I think Nancy Spittle is pretty much organizing a lot of the activity in that building.
Uh-huh.
I can't imagine there's much
Maybe
activity.
Katie Nolan.
And Katie Nolan, yeah.
Okay, so should I just send like just a note?
Oh.
That I...
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be great.
I'll take care of that. And also just a note too, he's been saying that the buildings really are not very dirty. And so, he's making sure to sort of sanitize things, keep things clean. And he's expecting that there'll be more work once things open up a little bit more, and I don't know if at any point if there are other tasks that we want to give him to do or not. But Nancy, maybe you can think about that too. If you notice things little things here and there, it sounds like he has time that he could do some other tasks.
Okay, I'll look around.
Okay.
Okay.
Since I remembered, since you're talking about tasks, the flag in front of the police station, Nancy, last time I looked, it hadn't been replaced. Did you say you had one that you could replace?
Yeah, I have one here. Is it a pole, or I don't even know, is it on the building? How does it attach?
Small pole that sticks out off the building. So I'm not sure if the pole easily comes out and you can replace it that way.
I have a flag here. I haven't been over there to look at it. I'll see if I can take a ride over there. There we go.
Yeah.
Great job, Lori. Delegate that.
And I'm sure you've all noticed the flags flying outside of this office. They look good.
Yeah,
a lot of windy days.
really
Yeah, it's nice to see the Wendell flag up there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they look great.
The other thought that came to me was the curtains in the town hall, which I think a while back there were concerns about that they were falling down a little bit or they were dirty. I'm not sure. So I don't know if that's something he already looks at and fixes, but could be something to mention.
Yeah, and actually, while we're on the subject of the town hall, and we should start making a note of things for the finance committee about certain repairs that may need to be done next fiscal year. And Christine brought up painting of the town hall, which definitely is something we should think about. Mm-hmm. And also the town office building is in desperate need of just a small painting touch-up on several spots, especially right next to the entrance, which has been washed away, where paint's been washed away by rain. So
that reminds me, I actually had a question when I read Christine's email. Do we have somebody who sort of keeps us sort of on a schedule of maintenance, like just sort of keeping track of, we painted this building 3 years ago, You know,
That's us.
it's us.
Yeah.
We can't delegate that to somebody.
Well, we could, but it's really, we've pretty much been doing it. A lot of it was
Okay.
with Nancy, but
Okay.
we're the ones that have been keeping our eyes on the buildings. And
Does
Right.
Jim have
Well,
any?
I think for a while it was Ted, but you know, he's not doing it anymore either.
Right.
And Jim or Alistair, maybe it could be something that they are tasked with
Mhm.
going forward.
yeah, I think Alistair might be a good candidate for that. I'm not sure that Jim is up for it at the moment with all of his other duties, but
And isn't he sort of transferring some of that to Alistair?
yeah,
Yeah.
facilities manager is gradually shifting over to Alistair.
That seems like it would be the right position for that to be with, sort of keep us, yeah.
So would somebody like to speak to Alistair about that, the possibility?
Sure, I can.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks, Lori. The other thing too, when I was talking to Eric, the custodian, he brought up that the vacuum at the town hall really does not work well, doesn't pick up things. So he's been bringing a vacuum that he has. So I didn't know whether to mention that to see if it can be put somewhere in the possibility of a budget at some point. I don't know how those things work.
Well,
I
that's
can,
exactly what we need to
write
do is
them out.
make a list and submit it to the FinCom.
Okay,
But in the case of a vacuum cleaner, which is something that's relatively inexpensive, if it were important to do right away, the select board could pay for that out of our own budget. It's not
okay,
a lot of money.
I think there's enough in town building maintenance in the town property line. I'll look into that.
okay. Nancy, do you mind leaving him a note if there is enough money to make a suggestion about ordering one? That he could make a suggestion
Yeah.
about what to order?
Sure, I mean, we have some accounts at various places. He could, you know, look at WB Mason and, I don't know, there's a couple of places we could look and see if
Mhm.
there's something suitable for that.
Okay, or do you want me to
Order
talk
it.
to him?
I can talk to him, it's not a problem.
Okay, all right.
Okay, well, I think we've loaded up Nancy with a lot of chores, as we are accustomed to do.
And we appreciate your work, Nancy.
Absolutely.
And at some point, and I think it's pretty early right now, but you should meet with the New Salem Select Board and determine, you know, how you're gonna handle this moving forward. I mean, I've given you a lot of notice, but I don't think we can go out and hire somebody tomorrow that's gonna wanna wait, 6, 7, 8 months to come on.
Right.
But we can think about the process, and I know that, and I'm trying to think who I was talking to about it. People ask me, what's in your contract? And I've said, I don't have a contract. And several people have suggested that the next person that gets hired probably should have a more formal contract to work under. I don't know how you feel about that.
Probably a good idea.
It's never been a problem for me, but I don't know if you've, read the goings on the Phillipston Select Board meetings where it was front page on the Athol Daily News. They were screaming at each other, and felt kind of bad for the town administrator. But,
yeah, really.
It can happen, and it's for the protection of the town, as well as the person doing the job.
Yeah.
Nancy, I hate to give you one more thing to do, but I'm assuming you have a list of local town administrators.
I do.
Could you email them and just ask if they have job descriptions that they could share?
Sure, although I do have a job description.
Could you send that out to us, please?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got a copy.
Yeah.
And that's where we can start on our search.
Yeah, we can look at that. In terms of, we have small town administrators, we have a listserv of, it reaches everybody, saying that there's going to be this opening. I don't anticipate a lot of response because most of them make more money, and they only have to take care of one town. So I'm guessing that's not going to be a a big pool of candidates for you.
Okay.
So Nancy, to clarify, I think I asked you the wrong thing. So you're saying we don't have a contract, like Wendell and New Salem don't have a contract as a shared?
Yeah,
Okay,
right. Wendell and Salem don't have a contract, nor is there a contract with the town coordinator. So it would be a contract for the town coordinator, but with both towns.
right,
So are you saying, do other town administrators have contracts they would share? Is that what you're asking?
right. I think that's, yeah.
Okay.
I meant to be asking for information
Okay.
about what we don't have.
Sure, I can ask around. I mean, sometimes you get 10 responses, sometimes you get one, but we'll see.
Right, yeah.
if people are willing to share.
Thank you.
That would be good to have. Oh, Nancy, I would suggest contacting Margie McGinnis. Wouldn't be surprised if she has one or knows one.
Yep.
Is she doing 2 towns?
No.
No,
Just Leverett?
I think there's only one other town, one other shared administrator, and I think it's Lennox and Lee or somewhere out in the Berkshires. Bigger towns, considerably bigger towns, with, you know, the one person in charge, but I think there is 1 or 2 other people under him doing, you know, helping.
Well, like everything
Pretty
else,
unique.
Nancy, you've done a good job of juggling 2 towns and keeping everybody happy in 2 different towns.
Well, I don't know if everybody's happy, but I'm telling you, it's a lot easier to juggle in Wendell these days.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any further thoughts or questions? Can we just roughly schedule time for looking at the warrant tomorrow? If I come in at 10, would that be okay with everybody?
Can I go in tonight?
Sure, if everything's there. Nancy, is it?
Everything's here. I just got to put out, I can make the appointment slips for the MLP before I go.
Okay, yeah, that actually would be easier. Tomorrow is.
Okay.
Sure, and I'll go either earlier or later. But I
Okay.
won't put 10.
All right. That sounds great.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks to everyone.
Have a good evening.
Adjourning in record time at 7:58.
Another short one, good.
I think everybody can probably use a little extra rest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's been a rough week.
Go home and turn on the TV.
Don't get sucked in though.
I actually wanted to ask Ray, what's the usage right now, Ray?
Oh, I know.
Of the internet.
Yeah. Off the chart.
True, yeah.
I did hear on the way over that the Capitol has been retaken.
Yeah.
The police have gotten everybody out, so.
Yeah, I think Nancy
one woman
Pelosi said she
died.
wants them back there back in there tonight to continue working.
Mhm.
Go for it.
Oh, hard times. I thought 2021 was going to be better.
Well, we did get the good news about the Senate, about
We
the
did.
Georgia election, so.
Absolutely. Very far out.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
All right. See you all
Okay,
soon.
thanks everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.
Night.